I'm going to be reading out some information today relating to Ian Dunlop, the director of this film, and how he went about recording this particular film here. It was a series of films initially, but they condensed into a feature in 1967. This is Desert People, a very interesting viewing experience. For most of his career, after a brief stint with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, he worked for the Commonwealth Film Unit, CFU, later Film Australia, from 1956 until around 1987. Dunlop collaborated extensively with editor Pip Devison. I should all say that this is all sourced from the Free Encyclopedia. Then Philippa Kirk, over around 30 years. Devison, after a break to rear her children, joined Dunlop on the last 11 films made under the auspices of AIATSIS. Devison later worked in the Australian National University Centre for Visual Anthropology. He also collaborated with award-winning cinematographer Dean Semler on at least 2 films. His debut film was about the remote Giles Weather Station in the Gibson Desert in Western Australia, where he worked with and filmed Martu people of the Western Desert Cultural Bloc. This led him to want to study First Nations Australians on film for the rest of his career, and his work changed the way the CFU framed Aboriginal Australians in their films. It took a while for Dunlop to persuade the CFU to return to the desert to follow up his first film, finally travelling there again in 1965 when the Australian Institute of Aboriginal Studies, AIAS, later AIATSIS, provided funding for him to return in 1965 and 1967 to make ethnographic films. The film unit at AIAS commissioned a lot of original film while it was in operation from 1962 until 1988, which included the production of a 19-part series of films made over the 6 years called People of the Australian Western Desert by Dunlop. The series was produced by John Martin Jones. Professional cameraman Richard Howard Tucker, along with recently qualified young anthropologist Robert Tonkinson, who knew some of the local Aboriginal dialects, set out for 3 weeks of filming in 1965. Aboriginal guides living on a mission nearby helped with interpretation, while Dunlop and Tucker shot around 5 hours of film with 2 Martu families from different language groups, Mandjin-Shadara and Ngajad-Jajara group. In 1967, they travelled to a different part of the Central Australian desert where they filmed 3 related Mandjin-Shadara families still living a nomadic life. Dunlop and Tucker shot another 7 hours of material with this group over 3 weeks. Most of the footage focuses on making artifacts, gathering food, and hunting lizards, bandicoots, emus, and kangaroos. Some illustrate therapeutic activities such as preparing and administering bush medicines. They also filmed some Aboriginal sacred sites, with these parts of the films now being restricted and are only able to be viewed by special permission. In 1966, Dunlop edited 4 parts of the series to create a 49-minute film called Desert People. This film was an Australian National Film Board production produced by the Commonwealth Film Unit for AIAS. Desert People, shot on black and white 35mm film, was screened at many film festivals, including out of competition at the 28th Venice International Film Festival, and won several international prizes. Australian anthropologist Norman Tyndale reviews the film for American Anthropologist in 1968, and an article entitled People of the Australian Western Desert, 1965, a series of 9 films in black and white directed by Ian Dunlop, by James C. Pearson, was published in the same journal in 1986. In 2015, Massimiliano Molona, who teaches political and economic anthropology and visual art at Goldsmiths College London, wrote a review of the film for Focal. Several episodes of the series were later screened at the Cinema Reborn Festival in March 2018. Dunlop distinguished between record films and interpretive films, most of the series adopting the former model following a particular process, event, or situation in roughly chronological sequence, while Desert People follows the latter. Desert People begins in the morning with the Mandjin-Jadara family setting out on their day's tasks and ends with the Ngad-Jajara family settling down next to fires at night. Although shot over 2 or 3 weeks, the film is presented as if occurring over 3 or 4 days. Dunlop's second interpretive film, at Pat Tanja Claypan, was based on material shot during the 1967 expedition over 2 weeks, as if it were 2 consecutive days in the life of this Mandjin-Jadara group. This 53-minute film was released as part of the main series in 1969.